I gotta get me a bag, steady type of cash on my bro and that same shit. No, I don't fuck with no lame bitch. Can't even fuck on the same shit. I heard your shit in the swag. That shit is so sad, put in work at that basement. I charge you double that pay.
Hello guys, and welcome to We the Royal Deities. I am Prince of What Ifs, and welcome to the channel. Before I say anything else, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of our videos, whether it's Dark King or me. Sorry I was gone for so long, I had some problems, but I am back with the second part of the series, and I hope you will enjoy it. That's all I have to say, so let's recap. We last started off with Inuzuka Naruto. His dad was part of the Inuzuka clan and made a name for himself. He still married Kushina and had Naruto, who he put the fox in to save the village. When Naruto grows, the effects of his power change things drastically. He would advance the powers of all the Inuzuka after entering the academy, and this topples the balance a bit, but it worked in the favor of the village. This led to the Inuzuka going against Danzo and saving the Uchiha after gaining more power. Danzo was executed after his secrets were revealed, and with this and his Ninken Sukatsu, Naruto would continue to grow. The Uchiha are still alive and are quite close with the Inuzuka, but because he is an alpha who has gifted power to the Inuzuka, Naruto becomes the leader and heir of the clan, and there had never really been one before. After a while, he soon graduates, having Sasuke as a friend now, as well as Hinata, but after their test with Kakashi, it turns out that Kakashi has turned into a werewolf, or shifter as they call them in this world. We will begin this part with Kakashi being brought before Hiruzen in a meeting room the next day, where the other clan leaders are along with Naruto, who has Sume to support him as a sort of bodyguard. "What have you done?" Homura would yell, as Naruto would say, "I didn't do anything." Homura would then say, "Look at him, you made him into one of your own." I wouldn't be surprised if he's then cut off by a stare from Naruto, who Fugaku then backs up. He backs up Naruto, saying clearly this was done by accident. Are you truly going to condemn a child? Koharu then says, "But just how much? How much is too much? Would it be impossible to believe that he did this on purpose?" They all argue a bit, and Naruto then gets up as he then walks to Kakashi, who now has fangs and is covered with fur, like the Inuzuka clan members usually would be, and he holds his hand out as Kakashi grabs it. Well, yeah, he grabs it, and Naruto would say, "Sorry this happened, sensei." "Don't worry about it," Kakashi would say, "but I wish I could control the shift, you know? I think I can fix that." As he holds Kakashi's arm, his veins then become visible as Naruto starts to take back the power of the shift right before everyone, but Naruto seems to be in pain. Inoichi would then say, "Naruto, stop." Naruto, however, would say, "No, it's fine. I think this works the same way it does with injuries. I don't want to force this fate on anyone." As he takes back the power, Kakashi loses his fangs and the fur, returning back to his normal self, as does his eyes, and even the mark is gone completely. The mark that made you an Inuzuka or a shifter. And Naruto will stumble back a bit, but says he is ultimately fine. Well, that was annoying. A new discovery, I guess. Fugaku then laughs nervously, saying that he is the only one who can say such things with ease. "So you can gift the shift? I thought I'd seen the impossible." Homura then asks Hiruzen what he's going to do, and Hiruzen says, "We'll have a bit of fun." They all are dumbfounded by this, and everyone turns asking what he means, and he says, obviously, you cannot turn any of those in other clans, but if possible, if you find a shinobi who you trust, or even more so, someone who wishes it, you may give them the bite, or the scratch, I guess you could say. But if you break this rule, I'm afraid death may be in the consequences. Do you have any problem with that? Koharu and Homura don't know what to say and leave, with Naruto then starting to jump up and down, saying, "Hear that, auntie? We can start gaining more members." And Sume would say to calm down. "Don't be impulsive. You don't know how to control giving the shift, and that poses a problem." It then dawns on them that this actually means that any of the Inuzuka clan members could create shifters, not just Naruto. It's a possibility. And Hiyashi would say, "This is a problem. This could ruin everything. Kakashi, how did you feel when you shifted?" Kakashi then says, "To be honest, I had no control until I got roared at." "Oh no. Does this mean we can't be shinobi anymore?" Naruto would ask. Silence then settles in the room, but then Shigaku asks, "When you struck Kakashi, did you notice anything?" Naruto would then say, "Well, actually, now that I think about it." "Wait, Sume, cut him." Kakashi then gets scared a bit, but Naruto says he simply wanted to check something, and Sume would come over and pop out one of her claws before then digging it into Kakashi's arm. As she takes out her claws, she then asks, "What is it?" And Naruto would say, "I was right. I don't see it. The mark." "The mark?" they would all say. And Naruto would say, yeah, when he was taking Kakashi back to when he and his team were taking Kakashi to the doctor, the mark, he saw a dot on his body, and he thinks that that dot transformed into the swirl that every Inuzuka member has, and that is why he transformed. I put a seal on him with my claws, but others can't do it. It's only me. The mark, it's a seal affirming our connection. Think about it. I'm sure you've fought some enemies and scratched them, but you never shifted them. Because that makes everyone sigh in relief, because the Inuzuka can keep being on the battlefield, and that's a really good advantage, and they would really hate to lose them. And Naruto would then bow to Kakashi, apologizing for making him run around the woods at night, and Kakashi says it's fine. Honestly though, if I could, I would go back to being like you. Really, Hiruzen would say, and Kakashi says, yeah, I also use Ninken, and I learned a lot of things from Minato-sensei. I'm more Inuzuka than Hatake, honestly. Then, do you want it back? Naruto would ask, and Kakashi said if that is possible, he would, and Naruto looks to the clan heads, who then say they're gonna talk about it. Remember what I say, okay? Hiruzen would say, and Sume says, if he acts recklessly, I'll take care of him. They then bow and leave, with Kakashi going as well, and as they leave, Hiruzen leans back in his chair saying, I haven't been so stressed in so long. Choza then says, to think such a ridiculous thing would happen. Hiyashi then says, then, what if Kakashi's request? If you consider his Sharingan, he is technically part of your clan, Fugaku. Hiruzen would then say, not exactly, that eye is a keepsake from an unfortunate accident. What do you think, Fugaku? Fugaku would then say he's fine with it. I too wish I could experience the power of this shift. Honestly, it's a powerful gift, and if he gets to have it, I will not let our eyes hold him back. After this, everything is kept under the wraps until they reveal it later, and Team 7 goes back to doing missions until one day, Naruto himself asks Hiruzen for a higher rank mission. You're still a genin, but considering your skill level, how would you feel with a C rank mission? They all get happy to hear this, with Hiruzen then calling in a drunk Tazuna, who starts to burp everywhere, filling the room with alcohol, and it makes Naruto and Tsukatsu's noses sting. Oh, stop doing that in here, Naruto would say, as Tazuna then looks at Naruto and says, these little brats are gonna... He's then cut off by a roar from Naruto, which sends a chill down his spine, and he straightens up while also sobering up completely, and he looks to see a pissed Naruto. Sorry, I'm sorry, Tazuna would say, and Sasuke then says to calm down to Naruto, and then he yells at Tazuna saying he has a sensitive nose. Can you not do that? Also, you do know we're underage, right? Tazuna nervously then nods, thinking, you look more dangerous than Gato ever could. How are any of you kids? Hiruzen then said that these three were ready to take care of him, implying that they all came from powerful clans, and this is when Tazuna recognizes their distinct features. Inuzuka, Uchiha, and Hyuga, Tazuna would say. Well, sorry for doubting you. Hiruzen then said that's fine, with him then saying the team was to escort Tazuna to the land of the waves, and so they head out, and as they're going, Shisui meanwhile was on his way to the sand to check on something on the orders of Hiruzen. So on their path to the waves, Naruto is barked at by Tsukatsu, and he says, sorry, but he can't join yet. Hinata would then say, who can't join? And Naruto then says there's nothing, trying to cover up the initiation of Kakashi becoming a shifter, and Sasuke gets suspicious a bit, with Tazuna then saying, so, you're the famous Inuzuka clan heir? I heard he was half Uzumaki. It's you, isn't it? Yeah, let me guess, you want to see me shift, Naruto would say. Tazuna then says it would be pretty awesome to, just as Naruto then says to stop, and Tazuna and Tsukatsu would as well, and he tells everyone to stay on guard, as out of a puddle nearby jump out the Demon Brothers. Naruto then roars up into the air, freezing them up while simultaneously telling Tsukatsu to attack, and with a quick pounce, he slams his paws into both their chests, sending them flying into trees and knocking them out. Good work, boy. Tsukatsu then lands down and barks at him with a happy little cheer, and Sasuke would say, man, I wanted that one. Naruto then apologizes, just as Tazuna is just kind of shaken up from the roar, and Naruto apologizes, saying that non-ninja can get used to it somewhat, but some people just can't, take the roar and not be shaken. Well, at least we're safe, Tazuna would say. They then go atop the Demon Brothers and then question them after they wake up, and this leads to Tazuna having to tell the truth, revealing his mission rank was actually way higher than it's supposed to be, and Naruto would say, so we're not just gonna give up, right? Of course not, Kakashi would say. We're moving forward, and you two. He then releases the two Demon Brothers and tells them to screw off, and they run away as the team then moves on, with Hinata seeing Tazuna is clearly distraught. Don't worry, sir, we'll be sure to protect you no matter what. Thanks, Missy, Tazuna would say. Sasuke would then say, don't worry, Kakashi-sensei is here anyway, so if things go wrong, he's got it. And if not, me and Hinata got this. What about me, Naruto would ask. And Sasuke would say, you were implied. And this is when Tsukatsu would bark and Naruto would say, yeah, of course you're included. And also Naruto blushes in embarrassment, with Sasuke then saying, if most people saw you, they'd find it hard to believe you're a clan head. After this, they all then go and take a boat ride, passing over a lake, and keep walking and walking, when Naruto then hears something and he turns to catch an executioner's blade being flung at him with incredible speed to the surprise of everyone but Kakashi. Naruto then grabs the big sword by the hilt and holds it at his side. Yeah, you're not getting this back. Zabuza then lands on a nearby tree branch with him laughing as he says, I've never seen someone crazy enough to actually catch it. And in Inuzuka, no less. Kakashi then steps out saying to stay back. Zabuza Momochi, he would say, as he then shows his Sharingan just as Zabuza then lands down. Kakashi the Copy Ninja. A small breeze then blows by with Kakashi then saying he will take care of this with ease, and then he disappears and appears right in front of a surprised Zabuza, who gets struck with an uppercut to his chin. He's fast, Zabuza would think. Zabuza then backflips and lands on a lake behind just as Kakashi then runs in, and Zabuza makes a hand sign, filling the entire forest and terrain with mist. Let's dance, Kakashi. The two then begin their fight with the kids protecting Zabuza while Tazuna while this is happening, and Tsukatsu stays in the front bearing his fangs while in his beast form. I know this is obvious, but Kakashi-sensei is really amazing, Sasuke would say, and Naruto would say, I'm not surprised. He'd be on the same level as your brother and Shisui if he was born as an Uchiha. He'd be overpowered. As the fight rages though, of course Kakashi wins, but because he went all out from the start and he's stronger than the original because his master in this version is stronger, and as he drags Zabuza's body back to shore, he dared not to move as he was being stared down by Tsukatsu and Naruto. These damn monsters, Zabuza would think, and as he thinks of this, he's then hit in the neck by a Senbon and gets knocked out, and Naruto points behind to Haku, who was standing on water. I apologize for cutting in, but that man is my job. It's a Mistanbu, right? Hinata would ask, and Kakashi then nods, asking why he was looking for Zabuza, and he said because he's obviously a criminal, but as he is speaking, Naruto can hear his heartbeat and smiles. You can take him. No need for any other words. Kakashi then looks at Naruto, who nods with a confident smile, and so he grabs and throws Zabuza towards Haku, who catches him. Thank you for your cooperation. He then disappears, with Naruto then saying that guy was lying. If anything, his heartbeat was really, really fast. You could say he was even mad. You heard that from here? Tazuna would ask. Naruto then nods and says that if they come back, they'll probably have some more trouble, but they should go to the land of the waste first because they can't dawdle, and they agree. When they make it to Tazuna's home, after arriving, Naruto proceeded to lay back, and instantly he started to fall asleep, feeling a bit tired. It's not because of the fighting, he just expends a lot of energy, so he sleeps a lot to calm his nerves. But then he gets knocked out in a second to the surprise of Tazuna, and he would ask, is he okay? This happens a lot, Sasuke would say, you get used to it. Kakashi then said that since Naruto actually has been talking about something that he's wanted to do for a while now, he was going to teach Sasuke and Hinata how to walk on water and things like that. They kind of talked about it, and Hinata would say, what about Naruto? Won't he miss out? He can already do that, Kakashi would say, and in anger, Sasuke then says, he never told me that. Screw it, I'm not falling behind now. They would then leave with Sasuke asking Tsukatsu if he wanted to go, and he shook his head as he then went to sleep. Well, you are Naruto's Ninkan, he would say. So the group then heads out, and Tazuna and Tazumi just let Naruto rest until he wakes up himself with a sluggish look about 4 hours later, and as he yawns, he smells Tazumi cooking food, something really delicious, and his stomach grumbles. Nice, I love beef. This is when Inari walks down the stairs, and as Naruto sees him, he waves to Inari, who ignores him, but then he was startled to see a sleeping Tsukatsu behind him. Oh, he won't hurt you. You want to pet him? Naruto would ask, and Inari says, no. That was a lie, Naruto would say. Inari says, how did he know? Well, he thinks that actually, because, well, why would you say that out loud? And Naruto would say, last offer. Inari, embarrassed, then comes over and slowly starts petting him, and soon finds him soft, with Naruto then saying, see, he's gentle, as long as you're not an enemy. Is he a ninja dog? Naruto then nods, with Inari getting saddened as he would then ask why he and his team were even here to help. Honestly speaking, I think you guys are only killing yourselves. Is that so? After this, the others soon come, and they have dinner with Sasuke and Hinata being roughed up a bit, and the next day, Naruto and Kakashi would look over Tazuna while he and other villagers built the bridge, and Tsukatsu stayed at home with Inari, who started to feel more comfortable around him, and so Hinata and Sasuke had more time to train. 3 days then passed, with Hinata and Sasuke getting better at controlling their chakra, and because Sasuke has been trained by legends, his control is already pretty awesome and allows him to perfectly walk on water and any surface at this point. And the same goes with Hinata because the Hyuga clan became more competitive. They were petty about the Uchiha clan. Of course they were more competitive. But anyway, one day while Naruto was resting in the forest, he smells a familiar scent and sits up to see Haku, who is picking flowers. Just making sure, but you are a man, right? Naruto would ask, and Haku then turns saying, oh, I didn't mean to wake you. And yes, I'm surprised you noticed the difference. I never thought someone with a face like that would be a miss, Danbu. Haku then freezes up and gets more serious, and Naruto would then say to calm down. If I wanted you dead, you would be. Trust me. What do you plan on doing? Haku would ask, and Naruto says, I want to know why you're doing this. You follow Zabuza, right? Why is he working for Gato? Haku then says because Gato can help the land even if he's a bit ruthless, and Naruto would say, so you don't have the resources. Why don't you call for the Leaf? You mean the village holding some of the greatest powerhouses? Impossible. Oh, I'm not asking a question. This is a suggestion. Why don't you call for the Leaf? We'll help you. Haku gets wide-eyed asking if he was joking. Naruto would say he is willing to tell the Kage to help. The only reason he didn't reach out is probably because Gato didn't let you. You've been isolated for so long, and also you've distanced yourselves. I will tell Sir Zabuza. And Haku would say, and Naruto with a smile then says he hopes this can be resolved peacefully, just as they hear ruffling and they turn to see a Ninken run over. Oh, a message! Yes, this is the answer to your request, the Ninken would say, and he then lets Naruto taste the scroll, and Naruto nervously opens it up, and then he smiles when he sees the contents of the scroll. Yes! He allowed it! Thank you, old man! He then starts jumping around and grabs Haku by the hand and brings him into a celebration and then just kind of spinning around, and Haku would ask, what are you so happy for? I'm gonna expand my clan even more. Haku is confused by this, well, what this means specifically, and Naruto then soon stops and thanks the Ninken, who then poofs, and Naruto says, meet us on the bridge tomorrow. We'll strike a deal if you want actual peace. He then disappears faster than Haku could actually track, leaving him stunned, as back at Tazuna's bridge, while Kakashi and Tazuna were there with the other villagers and they're just working, Naruto arrives there with the workers being startled. Go back to your work, Tazuna would say, this doesn't concern us. So the workers go back to doing their thing, and Naruto with a smile then says that Hiruzen allowed him to join the clan, and Kakashi hearing this would bow to Naruto, and this time everyone stops again. Oh, right, Naruto would say. Naruto then tells Kakashi to hold his hand out, and as he does, Naruto will release his claws and dig them into his arm, and his eyes will shine red as he then sees a seal cover Kakashi's shoulder, who, right before everyone, starts to shift, gaining fur on his face, and he grows his own claws, and Naruto takes out his claws with Kakashi standing up, and he pulls off his mask completely and bearing fangs. I can control myself. He then feels something and looks at his arm, seeing some wounds he had from Zabuza actually regenerating already, and he looks at Naruto, and his eyes, instead of being yellow, would actually turn blue to the surprise of Naruto. But he says, welcome to the Inozuka clan, sensei. What is going on here? Tazuna would ask. Did he just grow fangs, the villagers would be saying? Kakashi then focuses and goes back to normal, with Naruto then saying it's going to take a while to get used to the shift, and then he says, Sensei, you look really good without your mask. Kakashi, realizing his mask was off, then realized he probably have to mostly have it off now to bite people, and so he would just smile and say, who cares, and this smile blinds Naruto, who would say, how could someone with a face like that be a shinobi? Seriously? After this whole incident, Sasuke and Hinata learn this eventually and are baffled. First off, Kakashi looks awesome without his mask, and second, it is not possible for Naruto to turn people into shifters, and they're told this in the forest right before them, and Kakashi shifts right before them, and he would roar, causing nearby birds to fly away. This is so bizarre, Kakashi would say, and Sasuke says, you're telling me, so you're joining the Inozuka clan? Naruto, can you make me into a shifter? Then turn me, right now. Naruto however shakes his head saying, we had a meeting about this. I'm not allowed to turn any people of the major clans, I'm sorry. Really? Sasuke would say. Damn, I would have looked awesome with sideburns. They all then laugh with Hinata saying she wished she could have become a shifter too, but too bad, so sad. But they congratulate Kakashi, who thanks them, saying that he's gonna have to get a new type of mask. What? No, you look really awesome, Naruto would say. A day then passes, and when night falls, Naruto tells the team about meeting Haku, and so they know about the meeting, so when they go over there the next day, they aren't just going for the bridge, they were gonna strike a deal. This meant Tazuna was staying home this time, and Tsukatsu stayed over to protect them, and as they head over, they noticed the mist was rolling in. Show yourselves, Kakashi would say. Zabuza and Haku then walk out, with him then saying, I heard you wanted to strike a deal, brat. Yeah, so you're willing? I can make it happen, and the land of the waves can get support, any support it needs, Naruto would say. You expect me to trust you? Just like that? You could easily just stab us in the back and take over. Naruto with a serious tone then says, well, I'm gonna support you anyway, whether you want us to or not. Can you decide that out of nowhere? Hinata would say. And Naruto says, I don't know, but we're about to find out. This then makes everyone realize he's kind of winging it, but he is hell-bent on helping, and Zabuza says he's crazy. What you just said can be considered insubordination, kid. I've said crazier things, Naruto would say. This is when from behind them, Gato and some of his men walk up, and he says, kill them, Zabuza, I'm tired of this ruse. I'm in the middle of something, Zabuza would say. Well, your something is interfering with my business. Instantly, the team is already hating this dude, with Kakashi then asking if he can use the roar. Naruto then nods, with Kakashi then turning back as he would then shift, starting to gain muscle, grow fangs, and become a werewolf. Zabuza and Haku are shocked, and when he steps up, he gets on all fours and would yell, with his yell turning into a massive, spine-chilling roar. As this hits Gato and his men, they get terrified and literally all of them piss their pants, and they would stagger back, with Kakashi then standing up and growling, "Stay out of this." Gato then shakes his head in fear, saying, yes, I ain't gonna mess with you. And Zabuza asked what happened to him, as he and Haku were also affected by the roar, even if it wasn't meant for them. And Naruto would then say that he joined his pack of sorts. I'll give you time to think about it, but unless Gato here wants to die, I'm pretty sure he'll start treating these people better, right? He then turns to Gato with a frightening look, and he shakes and he nods his head, saying, yeah, I won't mess with them anymore. And then he thinks, red hair, crimson eyes. He's that kid, isn't he? Shit, what have I stepped into? Naruto then tells him to fuck off, and Gato and his men would then, Gato's men would then pull him away because he's too scared to move, and they run away in fear, and they clear the bridge. Naruto then asks if they still want to fight, and Zabuza would say, "You seem reasonable enough. I'll think about your offer. I don't need another fight today." He then tells Haku to come, and he starts walking back just as Haku follows, and they disappear into the mist. Kakashi then turns back to normal, saying, I ripped my clothes. Oh, we have special elastic ones for shifting. We'll give you one, Naruto would say. After this, they start walking back to Tasuna's home, and as they are, Hinata asks if he plans on turning Haku and Zabuza into, Inuzuka members if they join in this alliance of sorts. And Sasuke would say, are they allowed to be turned to begin with? Naruto then nods, saying because they're both robes, they can, and he will only do it if they want to change. And this is when they come to Tasuna's home, and this is when they see Sukatsu outside waiting with some of Gato's men floating on the water after trying to attack. Seeing Naruto, Sukatsu then runs over and Naruto hugs him, saying, good job. So a little time skip. After 3 days, Tazuna finishes the bridge and Zabuza kills Gato and hangs his head on a spike for everyone to just see. And this makes the villagers empowered, but it's also a signal from Zabuza saying he was willing to receive support of the Leaf, because if he doesn't have Gato's support, then he obviously wants another source. So the team leaves, having helped them, and as they're leaving, Kakashi summons one of his dogs to go tell Hiruzen about the deal, and on the way, Kakashi asks if the team wanted to take the Chunin exams. Oh, it's coming up, Sasuke would say. What do you guys think? Hinata would say, I want to join. It's a good chance to finally do something. Truth be told, Naruto and Sensei have been doing most of the work. Sorry about that, but yeah, I think we're ready, right? Kakashi then says, good, I already signed you up in advance. Then why did you even ask? I just wanted to hear your answer, Kakashi would say. Now, obviously, the bridge gets named, the Naruto Bridge, and in a day, when Team 7 comes back to the village, Kakashi is given the red mark of the Inuzukas, making him a part of the clan, and since he's someone who was an original Inuzuka, they had to establish a system for how he will be received, but he is given their home in their compound, and they were wondering if they could change his last name, or if he should be allowed to keep it. And news of this ability to make normal people into shifters would spread, and people come about saying that they wanted to be turned, and Hiruzen had a lot to deal with. Meanwhile, Sasuke and Naruto would be taking a stroll through the village, while Hinata was talking to her father, and of course, Sukatsu was there as well. I heard there were already some sand ninja who arrived, Sasuke would say, and Naruto would say, I wonder when we'll get to meet them. As he says this, they then turn a corner and see a particular scene as Kankuro is holding onto Konohamaru by the collar, and he struggles to get free, yelling at him to let go. Are all you leaf brats like this? Kankuro would ask, and Konohamaru then says, what's wrong with me? You just let me go already. Tamari would then sigh at Kankuro's immaturity. Stop messing about, he's just some kid. Yeah. Kankuro in this instant, as he hears this, is then grabbed and has his arm grabbed by Sasuke, who just body flickered over, and this makes Kankuro release him as Tamari readies her fan to attack, but as she does, Sasuke stares at her with his Sharingan. Wow, he looks pretty good, Tamari would say as she's almost blushing, and Konohamaru, after he's dropped down, thanks Sasuke before then seeing Naruto and Sukatsu run up. Big bro, Konohamaru would say as he then runs over and says Kankuro was being kind of a dick, to which Sukatsu growls at him, and the Sen Ninja realize they're actually in trouble. Sasuke, however, releases Kankuro, who stumbles back in anger and summons his puppets. I don't care what clan you're from, I'm gonna get some payback. Gaara, however, says to stop as he lands down from a tree, startling the Sand Ninja and Konohamaru, but not Sasuke, Naruto, or Sukatsu. Are you stupid? Gaara would say. This is the land of the Uchiha. It's like you're trying to get us killed. Kankuro then retracts his puppet, realizing they could be killed in an instant for this, and he apologizes while being scared, but mostly of Gaara. Gaara then sees Sasuke and Naruto and asks for their names. Sasuke Uchiha, Sasuke would say. Naruto Inuzuka. This is Tsukatsu. Tsukatsu then growls at him, and Gaara says, I'm looking forward to our next meeting. Gaara then starts to leave just as Temari notices Naruto as well, and she blushes a bit, thinking they both look like celebrities, and they haven't really figured out who Naruto is. You can't just figure out at a first glance. He's described to have crimson eyes, so it only happens when he gets serious and has his alpha eyes on. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, she then follows her brothers, with Naruto thinking this is getting a bit suspicious. It's like they only came here to pick a fight. Well, we'll talk about it later. As for you, Konohamaru, where's Ebisu? Konohamaru then freezes up before then diverting his gaze, but Sasuke appears right in front of him, freaking him out, and with a smile he says, Now, we can't have you running away again for the 10th time this week. Konohamaru then, now wanting to go back, runs in the opposite direction, yelling, only to be caught by Tsukatsu right by a scarf. Oh, come on, I don't want to go, Konohamaru would say, and Tsukatsu sees that he's sad and would throw him up, and Konohamaru would then land on his back, and as he does, Tsukatsu then starts running, indicating he will take him there to at least make it fun. Oh, you're giving me a ride? Awesome, Konohamaru would say, at least something good came out of this. And now I will explain how things will change in the exams. First off, Itachi is in charge of guarding everything with the help of some other Inuzuka, so his security is super freaking tight, and Naruto will also have his shadow clones all around, but mostly in the Forest of Death. And as for those who will be joining, of course, while the Uchiha are strong, not every kid is meant to be a warrior or ninja, so the rest are still just living their lives. Some are just now becoming underclassmen and just became like Geni right away, and they have only recently joined the academy, so yeah. And the main Inuzuka are only Kiba and Naruto because they have the same issue with their kids. It's not really an issue, but their kids just started being in the academy as well. But that's more than enough for them. And while training, Sasuke will have Itachi and his father helping him, so instead of learning the Chidori, he focuses more on Genjutsu, Shuriken Jutsu, and Taijutsu, and he learns higher forms of Flame Jutsu. Kiba will be trained by his mother and his older sister, and as for Naruto, due to being the heir, he fights a bunch of adults all at once, and that includes Kakashi, who is now a full-fledged member. 2 weeks in, after waking up, Naruto sees Tsukatsu curled up at his feet, and he would sit up, and he pets him. Alright, I'll take a little stroll. As he gets out of bed, his body flickers away and runs to the rooftops, running on all fours, and this was usually his way of actually waking up before he took a shower and brushed his teeth, so he would get all his senses opened up so he can feel more comfortable. And it became normal for people to just be awoken by him howling. It's more like he's like he replaces the chickens, he replaces the chickens that go like cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning. That's basically him, but in howling form. And when he reaches the Hokage monument while on his run, he just, howls, and then he goes all the way back, takes a shower, brushes his teeth, and gets his ninja clothes on before heading out. But Tsukatsu stays at home to help Sume out, since he was one of the best Ninken. Tsukatsu is the only Ninken of the Inuzuka who can actually transform without Naruto telling him to. The other Ninken need their partners to tell them, just signal it, but even without it, they're very strong. But it goes to show that Tsukatsu is different because he's been influenced by Naruto, and yeah. So as the sun rises, everyone gets to doing what they usually do. When Naruto reaches Teuchi's shop and lifts up the drapes. Good morning. Teuchi then turns, saying, Naruto, first as always. Naruto then sits down, asking where Ayame is, and he says that she's sleeping in today. So, the usual, Teuchi would ask. The usual, Naruto says. Teuchi then gets to cooking, and as he asks Naruto if he's going to the Chunin Exams, to which Naruto nods to. I heard some Kages were actually coming, like the Tsuchi Kage. He hasn't made an appearance in years, Naruto would then say, some Uchiha, some Hyugas, and 2 Inuzukas battling it out. Who can blame them, right? After eating a bit, he then goes back home, and we will now talk about Hinata's development. It's not much different, but she is pushed a bit far. However, in terms of ability, she hasn't really started to awaken her latent ability, but she will. But in this timeline, although she and Naruto talk, they're actually not that close, and Naruto has not taken the time to influence her in the same way he has his clan, not just about the powers. I told you, Naruto is enigmatic and that stoic personality. He hasn't really gotten that close to her yet. So just wait. So the day of the exams comes. However, as Team 7 enters the exam building together, after walking a bit, they come across a bizarre scene. Some other ninja were trying to, Genin were trying to enter a door, but were being held back by some Chunin. In his effort to enter, Lee is kicked away, and as he would fall, Tenten runs to him, asking if he was okay. In this moment, though, everyone feels this intense pressure and turns to see Team 7, with Naruto's eyes, his red eyes, sending chills down their spines, and Tsukatsu would then look like he was about to eat them up. However, Naruto then walks over to Lee and helps him up. "It's him, right? One of the shifters," they'd be mumbling. As people are mumbling about him, the Chunin, as well as Neji and Lee, get on guard. "Thank you," Lee would say. Naruto then lets go, saying, "Well, it's not like you needed it, right?" Sasuke then walks by, saying, "We should move on. This genjutsu sucks, by the way." As everyone wonders what this means, Sasuke is then attacked by one of the Chunin, but he easily dodges and slams a kick into his senpu, making him poof away. A clone. He then lowers his leg and Naruto walks over with Tsukatsu, and they both notice, actually, that Hinata isn't following. As they turn to see her, she is terrified of Neji's gaze, and Neji would say, "So you came anyway." Hinata then nods just as Neji feels a touch on his shoulder and he freezes up, and it was Naruto who would ask him to stop messing with his teammate. "I thought you were gonna get stronger," Naruto would say. Hinata, as she hears this from him, would then say she is, and she walks away, and Naruto would then take his hand off Neji. "You can't protect her from her problems, you know that, right?" "I can always try," Naruto would say. Team 7 then leaves with the other Genin not even trying to stop them or do anything, and they go to do something else because the Genjutsu has been revealed, and they realize this is the wrong floor anyway. So the kids start all to leave, and Lee instantly heals all his previous wounds, getting in, the zone, and he gets a serious look on his face. Tenten then asks, "You really want to do this, Lee?" Lee then says, "I must." As Team 7 heads down some stairs and are preparing to head to the actual third floor, Tsukatsu and Naruto stop, as this is when Lee jumps down from the second floor and he lands. "A sense killing intent," Sasuke would say. Naruto would then say he knows, as from above he then sees Tenten and Neji watching them, and he smiles, and then he looks at Lee. "What can I do for you?" Lee then gets in his fighting stance, asking Naruto for a fight, and just by saying this, Lee would slightly shake at what he just asked him. Naruto would then say, "Tsukatsu, I got this one." Tsukatsu then nods and would back away, as Naruto would then step up, saying he's looking forward to this. How does Lee fare against Naruto? What awaits the Genin in the Forest of Death? Find out in the upcoming parts. It's been me, Prince of This, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Welcome to the end of this second part. I hope you really enjoyed it. I don't have much else to say except put down in the comments what you thought about it, because there are no dislike buttons anymore, which I keep having to say because it's just the fact that I just had to reiterate. But like it if you like the video, obviously, and don't forget to subscribe. We're gonna hit 500 very soon. I'm hoping we're around we're pretty close, so just keep hitting the subscribe and get us up there. I hope you stay safe. I hope if you have COVID, stay home, get better. I've heard from people on my channel that some of them have caught COVID, so I'm just telling y'all, tell me what you want to tell me in the comments. If you're new to this channel, feel free to just say hi and we'll respond, obviously, and maybe even give you a heart. And yeah, that's about it. See y'all in the next video. Peace.